Next, let us understand the principle of working of potentiometer and the applications of potentiometer. Okay, potentiometer is a device which is used to measure the EMF of any cell without drawing a current from the cell. Okay, simply it consists of a metal wire of usually length 4 meters. This can also be 10 meters, this can also be 1 meter, but usually we use the length of a 4 meter wire made up of manganese or constantan. Okay, here AB represents the metal wire. Okay, so this metal wire, it is schematic representation of a potentiometer. So this wire is connected to a cell of EMF of capital E, which is connected in series with the rheostat to maintain the desired value of electric current through the circuit. So we are using a key in the circuit here. Okay, now there is a jockey connected to the left terminal of the metal wire through the galvanometer. Okay, whenever current flows through this wire, the potential drop across any part of this wire is directly proportional to length of the wire. Okay, so this can be proved like this. By Ohm's law, we have the potential drop across the conductor V is equal to what? It is I into R. Okay, and the resistance of the wire again depends on some other parameters here that I cannot write as I into R is nothing but rho L divided by A, where rho is the resistivity of this metal wire, L is length of the wire, A is a cross sectional area of the wire. Okay, so when we maintain the electric current constant and this rho and A remain constant for the same wire. Okay, hence this factor I into rho divided by A remains constant. By maintaining constant current, the resistivity and the cross sectional area of the wire do not change. Hence this term remains a constant. I can write it as I rho divided by A into L. Okay, so this constant I can write it as V is equal to phi into L, or I can write phi is equal to V divided by L. From this equation I can write V is directly proportional to L because this phi remains a constant. Okay, this phi is called potential drop per unit length of the wire, or it is also called a potential gradient. Okay, so for the given potentiometer, this term remains constant, which can be obtained by substituting these values. Yes, potentiometer works on this principle that the potential drop across any part of the wire is directly proportional to length of the wire. Next we shall learn the applications of potentiometer. Important application of potentiometer is a comparison of EMFs of two cells. Okay, so this experiment we have in our physics lab. Yes, very interesting experiment. Let us consider two cells of EMFs E1 and E2. Okay, we do not know the values of EMFs E1 or E2 here. Okay, we want to compare what is the ratio of their EMFs. That can be done using a potentiometer. Okay, so this is basic part of the potentiometer as we have seen in working of a potentiometer. Then see here, now we have two cells of EMF E1 and E2. Okay, this cell E1 can be connected through this galvanometer and jockey by using switch S1. Okay, and the same jockey and galvanometer can be connected through this cell E2 by using a switch S2. Okay, when switch S1 is closed, this is the path. Yes, E1 will be in the secondary circuit. When switch S2 is closed, E2 will be in the secondary circuit. Okay, so this is the primary circuit here. Okay, now let us close the key K here. When the key K is closed, current starts flowing through the primary circuit. Okay, initially let us consider both switch S1 is also not closed, S2 is also not closed. Okay, only current is flowing through the primary circuit here. Yes, then now what I will do, let us close this switch S1. Okay, I will close switch S1. Then this jockey can be placed anywhere on this metal wire AB. Okay, where to place this jockey? Yes, so I will place the jockey at point C when the galvanometer deflection is equal to 0. Yes, So what is meaning of galvanometer deflection is equal to B0? See here, there is another path created when the switch is closed. Okay, current can flow through this path also. Okay, but I have placed the jockey at point C such that the galvanometer deflection is equal to 0. That means there is no current flowing through this path. Okay, so whenever there is no current flowing through this path, we do not get any deflection of the galvanometer. But when does that happen? What is meaning of that? See here, let us consider. So this is metal wire of length AC. Okay, and there is some potential drop. There is some potential drop of VAC across this length of the wire. Okay, and galvanometer deflection will be equal to 0 when this potential difference, potential drop is equal to the EMF of the cell. Okay, so when EMF of the cell is equal to the potential drop, this potential drop again depends on what is this length. Okay, so for that immediately I will not be knowing where is this point C. I will just slide the jockey over this length of the wire at certain point. When the potential drop VAC becomes equal to E1, automatically there is no current through this path. At that point the galvanometer deflection will be equal to 0, and that condition is equal to what? VAC is equal to what? E1. Okay, so when the potential drop of the length AC becomes equal to EMF E1, the deflection will be equal to 0. Okay, and we also know the potential drop depends on the resistance of this wire. The resistance of this wire again depends on what is the length of the wire. Yes, in the principle we have seen VAC. Let us consider this length is L1. VAC is directly proportional to L1. Okay, let this be equation number 1. Okay, L1 is balancing length when EMF E1, the cell E1 is connected in the circuit. Okay, now what I will do, let me erase this part. Yes, now I will open this switch and let switch S2 is connected. Yes, S2 is connected, so that the secondary circuit is from A to EMF, S2 galvanometer and jockey. Okay, when the EMF is changed, the balancing length will also change. Again what I will do, whatever this jockey is there, again I will slide over the metal wire. So let us say I will get the equilibrium point somewhere here. Let this be C dash. Okay, so I will place the jockey on the point C dash when the galvanometer deflection is equal to 0. Yes, in the second case, galvanometer deflection will be equal to 0 when the potential drop, of this length AC dash, VAC dash is equal to EMF of the second cell. So in that condition I can write, so VAC dash is equal to what? E2. VAC dash is equal to what? E2 here. Again this VAC dash depends on what is the length of this metal wire AC dash. Okay, I can write VAC dash is directly proportional to L2, that is the balancing length when second cell is connected. Okay, so this is equation number 2 here. Okay, so let us divide equation number 1 by 2. I can write VAC divided by VAC dash is equal to what? L1 divided by L2. Okay, but VAC is equal to what? E1. I can write E1 divided by VAC dash is equal to what? E2, right? So by using this I can write E1 divided by E2 is equal to L1 divided by L2. Just by knowing the balancing lengths L1 and L2, we can compare the EMFs of our two cells. E1 divided by E2 is equal to what? L1 divided by L2. Okay, so this is how we can compare the EMFs of our two cells by finding the balancing lengths by connecting E1 and by connecting E2 separately. Okay, next we have another interesting application of a potentiometer, that is determination of a internal resistance of a cell. Okay, see here, this is the basic part of the potentiometer that we have already discussed. Now let us consider a cell of EMF capital E. Okay, now we have to calculate the internal resistance of this cell. Okay, now what we will do here, this cell is connected to jockey through a galvanometer like this. Okay, this is the galvanometer. Now initially what we will do, let us close this key K1. When the key K1 is closed, current starts flowing through this primary circuit. Okay, then let us keep this K2 open. If when this K2 is not closed, there is no current flowing through this part of the wire. The current just flows from this point A through this cell E and then through galvanometer to point G. Okay, I will place the jockey on the metal wire at point C such that the galvanometer deflection is equal to 0. Okay, again the galvanometer deflection is equal to 0, just as we have discussed previously. Whatever this galvanometer deflection will be equal to 0 when the potential drop in this metal wire of length EC. Okay, let this length is L1. Let this length is L1 here. So this potential drop I call it as VAC. So this VAC will be equal to EMF of the cell. Okay, so when the key K2 is open, so this is not the part of this circuit. The current just flows from A to E, E to G and G to C here. Okay, so when the galvanometer deflection is equal to 0, that will be equal to 0 when the potential drop VAC is equal to EMF of the cell. Okay, so first what we will do, when K2 is open, the potential drop, that is VAC. Okay, and VAC is equal to what? We have seen that is equal to phi into L1. VAC is directly proportional to L1, so that we can write it as VAC is equal to phi into L1, where phi is a potential gradient, that is the constant value. So this is equal to what? EMF of the cell. Okay, let this be equation number 1. Yes, then we know whenever current is drawn from any cell, whatever the voltage is measured, that potential difference will be terminal potential, that will not be equal to EMF. Okay, so this theory we use here. Next what I will do, when we close the key K2, when K2 is closed, what happens? When K2 is closed, I am closing key K2 here. When the K2 is closed, the current flows from this also. Okay, there is current drawn from this cell. So whatever potential difference is measured now, that will be terminal potential. Again, what we will do here, let me consider when this K2 is closed, when the K2 is closed, again what I will do, I will place the jockey on this metal wire such that the galvanometer deflection is equal to 0. I will slide the jockey on this metal wire. So let us consider the galvanometer deflection is 0 when the jockey is placed at point C dash. Okay, so now the potential drop for this length of AC dash, that I call it as a VAC dash, that will not be equal to VAC. Okay, so because when this K2 is closed, there is current drawn from this cell also. This whatever potential difference is measured, so whatever potential difference is measured between terminals of the cell, that will not be equal to EMF, that is equal to terminal potential, which will be less than the EMF. Okay, so in this case, so galvanometer deflection will be equal to 0 when the potential drop for this length VAC dash is equal to the terminal potential of the cell, because there is current drawn by connecting the external resistance here. Okay, so VAC dash is equal to what? Phi into L2. So let this length is L2 here. VAC dash is equal to phi into L2, that is equal to the terminal potential of the cell. Let this be equation number 2 here. Okay, now let us divide equation number 1 by equation number 2. I will get LHS divided by LHS. Phi L1 divided by phi L2 is equal to what? E divided by V. So this implies E divided by V is equal to what? L1 divided by L2, where L1 is balancing length when K2 is open and L2 is balancing length when K2 is closed. Okay, so let this be equation number 3. Then we have a relation for internal resistance, EMF and potential. terminal potential as, see here we have EMF is equal to what? EMF is equal to capital I into R plus I into small r. Okay, so this I into R is nothing but that is the terminal potential plus I into R. Okay, let us divide this by V. What I will get? E divided by V is equal to what? V by V plus of IR divided by V. Okay, so I can write E divided by V is equal to 1 plus IR divided by capital I, capital R. I get cancelled here. So this I can write it as E divided by V minus of 1 into capital R is equal to small r. Okay, this is the expression for internal resistance in terms of EMF and terminal potential. Okay, by this equation I can write E by V is equal to what? L1 by L2. I can write R is equal to L1 divided by L2 minus of 1 into capital R. This is the expression for internal resistance of the cell. Just we have to find out the balancing length L1 and L2. Okay, so this is how we can use the potentiometer to find out the unknown internal resistance of a given cell. Yes, let us solve the numerical problems on current electricity. First, let us list the formulae that we are going to use to solve these numerical problems. Okay, to start with, by the definition of electric current, we have I is equal to Q divided by T. Okay, where Q is the charge flowing through the conductor in given time of T. Yes, then we have the expression for drift velocity. Vd is equal to E tau divided by m, where E is the magnitude of charge of the electron, capital E is the intensity of external electric field, tau is the relaxation time, and m is mass of the electron. Then we have the relation between electric current and drift velocity, that is I is equal to NEA Vd, where N is electron density of the conductor, E is again magnitude of the charge of the conductor, capital A it is the cross sectional area of the conductor, and Vd is drift velocity. Then we have the current density denoted by capital J equal to I divided by A. Yes. Then we have by Ohm's law, potential difference is equal to what? I into R. And the resistivity or the specific resistance is given by R is equal to rho L divided by A, where L is length of the conductor, A is cross sectional area of the conductor, rho is the specific resistance, and R is the resistance of the material. Okay, then we have conductivity or specific conductance, which is equal to 1 divided by rho, which is inverse of resistivity. Okay, then the terminal potential of any cell is given by V is equal to capital E R divided by R plus of small r, where E is EMF of the cell, R is the external resistance, small r is internal resistance of the cell. Okay, and then for the combination of resistors, for series combination, the effective resistance is sum of individual resistances, that is Rs is equal to R1 plus R2 up to Rn. For the parallel combination, 1 by Rp is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3 and so on. Okay, and the power dissipated in the resistor is given by P is equal to V into I, that is equal to I square R. Okay, then when we have the combination of cells, when series combination of cells is there, the effective EMF of the series combination of cells is given by sum of individual EMFs of the cells. Okay, and similarly the internal resistance, effective internal resistance for series combination of the cells is R1 plus R2 up to Rn. Okay, so whenever we have parallel combination of two cells, the effective EMF due to combination of parallel combination of two cells is E1 R2 plus E2 R1 divided by R1 plus of R2, where E1 and E2 are EMFs of first and second cell, and R1 and R2 are the internal resistance of first and second cells, and the effective internal resistance for parallel combination of two cells is given by 1 by Rp is equal to 1 by R1 plus of 1 by R2. Okay, if there are any other formulae, we shall see when we are going to solve the numericals. Yes, let us start with a simple problem. Read the problem here. It is given that a copper wire of cross sectional area 1 into 10 to the power of minus 6 meter square carries a current of 5 amperes. Okay, we are asked to find out what is the current density and drift velocity of the electrons and it is also given that the electron density of the copper is 8 into 10 to the power of 28 electrons per meter cube. Okay, first let us write down the data given. We have the area is equal to what? 10 raised to minus 6 meter square, and the current is given to be how much? 5 amperes. Okay, we have to find out the current density, that is capital J is equal to what, and second one we have to find out the drift velocity. Drift velocity is equal to what? Okay, so first one directly we can write the current density, that is J is equal to, we have J is equal to what? By definition that is equal to I divided by A. I is what? 5 amperes. 5 divided by what is the area? 10 to the power of minus 6. So J is equal to 5 into 10 raised to plus 6 ampere per meter square. Okay, this is the current density per meter square. So much current is flowing through the conductor. Okay, and second one we have to find out what is the drift velocity of the electrons. We have the equation, that is I is equal to NEA VD. Okay, so already N is given, that is the current density, that is N is equal to what? 8 into 10 to the power of 28 electrons per meter cube. Okay, N value we know, E value we know, I we can take to the left side, so that is nothing but J here. Okay, so by this equation we can write VD is equal to I divided by A divided by NE. Okay, but what is this here? I divided by A is what? I divided by A is nothing but the current density, so that is equal to J divided by NE. Okay, so let us substitute the value here, that is J is equal to what? 5 into 10 to the power of 6. N is the current density of electron density of the copper, that is 8 into 10 to the power of 28 into charge of 1 electron is what? 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19. Okay, after calculating this we get the value of drift velocity as 0.39 into 10 to the power of minus 3 meter per second. Okay, so this is the value of drift velocity of the electrons for given data. Okay, now let us look at the next problem. This is the question asked in the year 2016 of July exam. Okay, they have given a wire of length 2 meters and diameter 1 millimeter having resistivity of 1.963 10 to the power minus 6 ohm meter is connected in series with battery of EMF 3 volt and the internal resistance of 1 ohm. Okay, calculate the resistance of the wire and current in the circuit. Very direct question here. First let us write down the data given. The length of the wire is how much? That is equal to 2 meters they have given. Okay, so then we have the diameter, that is D is equal to 1 millimeter, that is 0.001 meter, so that R is equal to what? 0.0005 meters. Okay, that is the radius of the wire. The resistivity is given, ohm is equal to what? 1.963 into 10 to the power of minus 6 ohm meter, and the EMF of the cell is given to be how much? 3 volt. Okay, and internal resistance of the cell, that is small r, is equal to what? 1 ohm they have given. Okay, we have to find out the resistance of the wire as well as what is current in the circuit. Okay, by the definition of resistivity we have the equation, that is R is equal to what? Rho L divided by A. Okay, for this first we have to find out what is area of the wire, cross sectional area of the wire. Cross sectional area of the wire can be written as, that is equal to pi r square. Okay, that is 3.14 into radius is how much? That is 0.0005 square. Okay, after calculating this we get this area as 0.78 into 10 to the power of minus 6 meter square. Okay, this is the cross sectional area of the wire that we can use to find out the resistance of the wire. Let us substitute the values to find out the resistance. R is equal to, rho is what? 1.963 into 10 to the power of minus 6 into L is what? That is 2 meters divided by area, just now we have found out, that is 0.78 into 10 to the power of minus 6. Yes, after calculating this we get the value of this resistance is nearly equal to 5 ohm. Yes, the resistance of the given wire is 5 ohm. Then, so this resistance is connected to the cell of EMF and internal resistance. The resistance is equal to 5 ohm you have calculated. The EMF the cell is how much? 3 volt, and it is having the internal resistance of 1 ohm. Okay. So for this circuit, we have the current flowing through the circuit I is equal to what? EMF divided by total resistance, that is capital R plus of small r. Okay. Let us substitute the value here. E is equal to 3 divided by capital R is 5 plus internal resistance is 1. So we get it as 0.5 ampere, that is 3 divided by 6. We get the electrical current in the circuit is equal to how much? 0.5 ampere. We have found out whatever is asked. Okay. This simple problem carries 5 marks. Let us look at the next problem. It is given that 3 resistors of resistances 1 ohm, 2 ohm and 3 ohm are connected in series. Yes. What is the effective resistance of the combination? And if the combination is connected to a battery of 12 volt, find the potential difference across each resistor. Very simple problem they are given. We have the series combination of 3 resistors. Okay. So let us consider the 3 resistors. R1 is going to be how much? 1 ohm. R2 we have 2 ohm, and R3 is equal to how much? 3 ohm. Okay. These are connected in series across a battery of EMF 12 volt. Okay. Its EMF is how much? 12 volt. So the potential drop across the first resistor, let it be V1, that across second resistor let it be V2, and across third resistor let it be V3 here. Okay. So that V1 plus V2 plus V3 is equal to 12 volt. Yes. So first, to find out the effective resistance, all these are connected in series. We have the effective series resistance is equal to what? R1 plus of R2 plus of R3, that is equal to 1 plus 2 plus 3, that is equal to how much? 6 ohm. This can be written like this. The resistance Rs is equal to how much? 6 ohm connected to 12 volt battery. Okay. Now, to find out the potential drop across each resistance here, first we have to find out what is the electric current flowing through the circuit. Yes. So by Ohm's law, I can write I is equal to what? V divided by R. Voltage is how much? 12 volt divided by R is how much? 6. So electric current in the circuit is equal to how much? 2 amperes. Okay. So in series combination, the same current flows through all the resistors. So the current through R1, R2 and R3 is equal to how much? We have it is equal to I is equal to 2 amperes. Okay. So considering the first resistor R1, the potential drop across first resistance, that is V1 is equal to what? I into R1, that is equal to what? 2 amperes into first resistance is how much? 1. So that is equal to 2 volt. Okay. Similarly, the potential drop across the second resistor is equal to what? The current flowing through second resistor is I into R2. Again the current value is same here. The resistance is how much? 2. So that is equal to 4 volt. Remaining must be 6 volt, that we shall verify. The potential drop across the third resistor V3 is equal to what? I into R3. I is equal to 2 amperes. The resistance of third resistor is equal to what? 3. So the third potential drop is equal to 6. So that the total voltage is equal to how much? 6 plus 4 plus 2, that is equal to 12 volt. Okay. So this is the effective resistance, that is the net current flowing through the circuit, and these are the values of the potential drops across each resistor connected in series. Let us look at the next problem here. This problem was asked in the question paper of 2014 July month. Okay. So they have given there is a network of 2 resistors connected to 12 volt battery as shown in the figure. They have given the figure here. There are 2 resistors of resistances 12 ohm and 6 ohm each. Then we have to find out the equivalent resistance of the combination. As we know, these two are connected in a parallel combination. We say any 2 resistors are connected in parallel combination when both their left terminals are connected to same terminal of the battery and remaining 2 terminals are connected to the other terminal of the battery. In this case, the left terminals of both the resistors are connected to the positive terminal of the battery, and remaining two terminals are connected to the negative of the battery here. Okay, hence this is a parallel combination of the resistors. So first we have to find out the equivalent resistance of the combination, then we have to obtain the current in each resistor here. Okay, first let us calculate the effective resistance here. For parallel combination we have 1 divided by Rp is equal to what? 1 by R1 plus of 1 by R2. This same equation can also be written as Rp is equal to R1 R2 divided by R1 plus R2. Okay, so when I substitute the values here, R1 is equal to what? This we shall take it as R1, this we shall take it as R2 here. Okay, let us substitute the values. I will get 12 into 6 divided by 12 plus of 6, so that is 72 divided by 18. Yes, so Rp is equal to how much? Rp is equal to 4 ohms. The effective resistance of parallel combination of these two resistors is 4 ohm. So the first part solution we have obtained now. Then as we know, when the resistors are connected in parallel, the voltage, the potential drop will be same as the supply voltage. So here also this will be 12 volt. The potential drop across the first resistor is also 12 volt here. Okay, so V1 is also equal to 12 volt, V2 is also equal to 12 volt, right? So when I consider resistor R1, considering resistor R1, I can write V1 is equal to what? R1 into I1. So whenever current flows through the circuit here, at this point the current gets divided. Here let us consider them as I1 and I2. Okay, I1 is current flowing through R1 and I2 is current flowing through R2, so that I is equal to, total current is equal to what? I1 plus I2. Okay, so by this I can write I1 is equal to what? V1 divided by R1. Okay, so I can write it as I1 is equal to what? V1 is 12 volt, 12 divided by R1 is 12, that is equal to 1 ampere. Okay. Similarly, when I consider the second resistor here, I can write by Ohm's law, I can write V2 is equal to what? R2 into I2. So current through the second resistor I2 is equal to what? V2 divided by R2, that is equal to 12 divided by R2 is how much? 6, that is equal to 2 amperes. Okay, so these are the values of the currents in each resistors, right? So the total current must be sum of these two currents. Yes, effective voltage is equal to 12 volt and the effective resistance is equal to what? Rp. If I draw the equivalent circuit, right? So Rp is equal to how much? 4 ohm we have got. Okay, and the battery potential difference is equal to how much? 12 volt, right? So by this also the total current is how much? Voltage is V divided by Rp, that is equal to 12 divided by 4, that is equal to 3 amperes. Now we can verify this. The total current is equal to what? I is equal to I1 plus of I2. So I is also equal to 3, that is equal to 1 plus 2. So our answers are correct. So the current flowing through R1, I1 is equal to how much? 1 ampere. The current flowing through R2 is equal to how much? 2 amperes. Okay. These are the solutions for this is the first solution, and these two are the solution for second part of the problem. Very simple problem is asked for 5 marks. Look at the next problem here. It is given that 3 resistors of resistances 4 ohm, 6 ohm and 8 ohm are connected in a parallel combination. What is the total resistance of the combination? And if the combination is connected to battery of EMF 25 volt and negligible internal resistance, we have to determine the current through each resistor and total current drawn from the battery. Okay, this is also question from the annual exam question paper. Let us first draw the circuit given. Okay, there are 3 resistors. Yes, 3 resistors which are connected in a parallel combination. Let us connect the left terminal to positive of the supply. The right terminals are connected to negative of the supply here. Voltage is equal to what? 25 volt. Okay, let us consider R1. R1 is equal to 4 ohm, R2 is equal to what? 6 ohm, and R3 is equal to what? 8 ohm. These are the values of the resistances given. We have to find out, first we have to find out the effective the resistance of this parallel combination. All these are in a parallel combination. Okay, I have to find out Rp, then I have to find out what is the total current, then we shall find out what are the currents through each resistor. Okay, again simple problem for 5 marks. The effective resistance for parallel combination is given by 1 by Rp is equal to what? 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus of 1 divided by R3. Okay, that we shall write 1 by Rp is equal to 1 by R1 is 1 by 4 plus of 1 by 6 plus 1 divided by 8. So this we can write it as 0.25 plus 0.16 plus of 0.125. Okay, so this is the value of Rp. Yes, by calculating this I can get Rp is equal to 1.84 ohm. After simplification I get the value of Rp is equal to, actually this is 1 by Rp, I have to inverse that. After doing that I get the value of Rp is equal to 1.84 ohms. This is first part of the problem. If I draw the equivalent circuit like this, so this is the value of 1.84 ohms. Okay, so this is the supply voltage here of 25 volt. Okay, then we know when we have parallel combination, the potential drop across each resistor will also be same as the supply voltage. So across each resistor we have same potential difference of 25 volt here. Okay, when I consider the first resistor, by Ohm's law I can write V1 is equal to I1 into R1. Okay, all V1, V2, V3 are equal to 25 volt. Okay, so by this equation I can calculate the electric current through first resistor is equal to what? V1 divided by R1. Okay, so V1 is equal to what? That is 25 volt divided by R1 is equal to what? So that is 4 amperes. Yes, so this is equal to 6.25 amperes. Yes, so this is the value of current through first resistor, that is 6.25 ampere. Similarly, consider the second resistor here. I can write V2 is equal to R2 into I2. So I can write I2 is equal to V2 divided by R2. V2 is again equal to 25 volt here. 25 divided by the value of R2 is equal to how much? 6. Okay, so this I get it as I2 is equal to 4.16 amperes. Yes, similarly, when I consider the third resistor here, I will directly write the value of I3 is equal to what? V3 divided by R3, that is again equal to 25 volt divided by R3 is how much? 8. Yes, so this comes out to be 3.125 amperes. Okay, so I have three values of currents here. This is I1, this is I2, this is I3. The net current will be sum of all these currents. So I can write I is equal to what? I1 plus I2 plus I3, that is equal to I1 is how much? 4.16 plus of, sorry, I1 is equal to 6.25 plus 4.16 plus of 3.125. After calculating this, I get it as 13.54 amperes. Okay, this can also be done by using this total current, that is I is equal to voltage divided by the parallel combination of effective resistance for the parallel combination, that is equal to 25 divided by 1.84. So this is also equal to 13.54 amperes. Okay, this is the total current drawn by the battery by combination of these three resistors connected in parallel combination. Yes, next we have an interesting problem here. It is given that the effective resistance of two resistors is 9 ohm in series combination and it is 14 divided by 9 ohm in parallel combination. Find the values of resistances of each resistor. Okay, so they have given two resistors. When those two resistors are connected in series combination, let us say the first resistor is R1, second resistor is R2, the equivalent resistance is equal to how much? That is RS. Let us say the effective series resistance is equal to RS is equal to how much? 9 ohm. Okay. Similarly, when the same resistors are connected in parallel combination, when they are connected in parallel combination, again it is R1, it is R2 here. The effective resistance, that is Rp is going to be how much? 14 divided by 9 ohms. Okay, we have to find the individual values of R1 and R2 by the given data here. Okay, so we know when two resistors are connected in series, the effective resistance is given by what? Rs is equal to what? R1 plus of R2. Okay, so they have given Rs is equal to 9 ohm. This implies R1 plus R2 is equal to what? 9. Let this be equation number 1. Okay, and when we have two resistors connected in parallel, the effective resistance is given by what? Rp is equal to, directly I will write the equation, R1 R2 divided by R1 plus of R2. Okay, so R1 plus R2 is nothing but 9, is it not? So by this I can write R1 into R2. R1 into R2 is equal to what? Rp into R1 plus of R2. Okay, because Rp value is given, Rp is equal to 14 divided by 9, that is equal to how much? 14 divided by 9 into R1 plus of R2. R1 plus R2 is equal to how much? 9. So 9 get cancelled here. This implies R1 into R2 is equal to 14. Let this be equation number 2. Okay, so now we have got two equations here. R1 plus R2 is equal to 9 and R1 into R2 is equal to 14. By using these two data, we should try to find the value of R1 and R2. We have some basic identity, mathematical identity, that is a plus b whole square minus of a minus b whole square is equal to 4ab, because this is a square plus b square plus 2ab minus of a square plus of b square minus of 2ab. This minus into minus, this will be 2ab plus. So finally we will have 4ab here. Okay, the same thing if I write it as R1 plus R2 whole square minus of R1 minus R2 whole square is equal to 4 times of R1 into R2. I am just replacing this A and B by R1 and R2. Okay, so that I will try to find out R1 minus of R2 here, because already I know the value of R1 plus R2. So if somehow I can get the value of R1 minus of R2, easily I can find the individual values of R1 and R2. Okay, so by this I can write R1 minus of R2 whole square is equal to R1 plus R2 whole square, this I take it to left side, minus of 4 into R1 R2. Okay, what is R1 plus R2? That I know, 9 square, is it not? 9 square minus of 4 into R1 into R2 is equal to what? That is 14. Okay, so that is equal to 81 minus of 56. Okay, so R1 minus of R2 whole square is equal to how much? 81 minus 56, that comes out to be 25, is it not? So R1 minus R2 is equal to what? Let us take the square root, so that is equal to 5. Let this be equation number 3. Now the problem has been very simple. So I have from first equation I have R1 plus R2 is equal to 9. Then I have from third equation R1 minus R2 is equal to how much? 5 here. These two get cancelled. I will get 2 times of R1 is equal to how much? Let us add the values, 14. So R1 is equal to 7 ohms. Okay, R1 is equal to 7 ohm and R2 must be equal to how much? That is equal to 2 ohms, right? So these are the values of individual resistances. Similar problem, if you remember, we have solved in the case of capacitors. Yes, this is the solution for a given problem.